Most NFL offensive linemen weigh over 300 pounds. They train every single day for one specific purpose: stop the pass rusher, protect the quarterback, do not let him through. They are the biggest, strongest, most technically trained athletes on the football field. And for 11 straight seasons, Aaron Donald made every single one of them look slow. Not occasionally, not in highlights, consistently, systematically, mercilessly. Offensive coordinators did not just game plan against him. They built entire offenses around the sole purpose of avoiding him. Now here is what makes none of that make sense. Aaron Donald was not the tallest defensive tackle in the NFL, not the heaviest. By NFL standards, not even close to the biggest. So how did a man who was smaller than the players trying to stop him become the most unblockable force in NFL history? The answer has nothing to do with size and everything to do with something no offensive lineman, no matter how big, how strong, or how well trained, ever found a way to stop. On March 14th, 2023, Aaron Donald posted a single photo on Instagram. No caption, no announcement, no statement, just a photo. His cleats, retired. Within hours, the NFL stopped. Players posted tributes. Coaches gave statements. And then something happened that almost never happens in professional football. The offensive linemen came, the men whose entire careers had been shaped and sometimes defined by the nightmare of blocking Aaron Donald, posted genuine emotional farewells to the man who had made their professional lives genuinely difficult for 11 seasons. Think about that for 1 second. In the NFL, opponents do not mourn each other's retirements. They move on. They find the next challenge. They never look back. But Aaron Donald was not a challenge anyone moved on from. He was the standard they measured every other pass rusher against. The impossibility they accepted as simply part of the game. The one player every offensive coordinator in the NFL quietly hoped would retire before they had to face him again. And now he had. Which means one question finally has an answer. How did he do it? What was the move, the specific technical weapon that made Aaron Donald physically impossible to block? At the 2014 NFL Combine, Aaron Donald measured 6 feet 1 inch, 285 pounds. The average defensive tackle that year was 6 feet 3 inches, 310 pounds, undersized, lighter, shorter. 12 franchises looked at those numbers and passed. 12. The Los Angeles Rams took him at pick 13. Within 2 seasons, every one of those 12 franchises understood exactly what they had done. But here is why the size never mattered. In football physics, there are 2 things that determine every single pass rush engagement: leverage and hands. The lower player wins. Always. This is not strategy. This is physics. Donald played with a pad level, the height at which his body contacted blockers, so consistently low that biomechanics coaches at universities used his film in sports science programs. Not NFL programs. University programs. Academic institutions studying human movement and physics. That is how technically precise his leverage was. Then his hands. The initial punch of a defensive lineman determines everything. Too high, pushed back. Too wide, locked out. Too slow, position lost. Donald's punch was recorded in NFL facilities as among the fastest ever measured at his position. Not just fast, accurate. Delivered to precise points on a blocker's chest that neutralized their leverage before they could even establish it. He was not beating offensive linemen with size. He was beating them with physics. And that was only half of it. Every great pass rusher in NFL history had one move that defined them. Reggie White, the hump move. Dwight Freeney, the spin. Aaron Donald had something neither of them had. A 3-technique sequence so fast, so fluid, so precise, that when you watch it in real time, you genuinely cannot see it happen. Coaches called it the swim rip combination with a ghost step. The ghost step comes first. At the snap, Donald takes a lateral step so subtle it shifts his body just 3 to 4 inches outside the blocker's frame. 3 to 4 inches. barely visible, enough to compromise everything. The blocker's hand placement, destroyed before contact even begins. Then the swim. As the blocker's hands come forward, Donald's arm comes over the top, redirecting the punch upward, breaking leverage in a fraction of a second. And then the rip. Opposite arm drives upward through the blocker's armpit, hips turning, shoulders rotating, body already moving toward the quarterback. Ghost step, swim, rip. One fluid sequence, 1.2 seconds total. The average offensive lineman needs 1.5 seconds to reset after a failed punch. Donald was already past him before the reset began. Offensive line coaches spent entire training camps searching for a counter technique. Most admitted they never found one. Most NFL statistics need context. Aaron Donald's do not. 98 career sacks. From an interior defensive tackle, the position specifically designed to occupy blockers so other players can get the sacks. Interior linemen face double teams on nearly every single pass play. Their job is disruption, rarely glory. Donald did both, every season, for 11 years. In 2018, he led the entire NFL in sacks with 20.5, 20.5 sacks, interior position, consistent double teams, no system designed to free him, just Donald. He was named All-Pro, the highest individual honor in the NFL, 8 consecutive times. 8. No defensive tackle in history has matched that number. Not before Donald, not since. When in that same 2018 season, analytics platforms gave Donald the highest single-season grade ever recorded for a defensive player. Not the highest that year, the highest ever. But the number that defines his legacy most completely, in 11 NFL seasons, Aaron Donald never had a bad year. Not one. Not a shadow of himself. Not a single season where anyone saw the end coming. He retired at the absolute peak of his powers, by choice, on his own terms. And the reason why is the most human part of this entire story. Super Bowl 56, February 2022. Los Angeles Rams versus Cincinnati Bengals. Aaron Donald's final game. He just didn't know it yet. Fourth quarter. Bengals driving, Rams trailing. Donald beat a double team, 2 blockers simultaneously, spun free, pressured Joe Burrow into an incompletion that sealed the Super Bowl. He was 31 years old, against 2 blockers, on the biggest stage in football. He made it look routine. In the locker room afterward, teammates described him crying, not from joy alone, from relief, from completion, from the feeling of a man who had carried something heavy for an enormously long time, finally being allowed to set it down. He had the ring, he had the legacy, he had nothing left to prove to anyone. 1 year later, the cleats photo. No caption, no announcement, no statement, just a quiet goodbye. The opponents who had spent their entire careers trying to block him posted tributes within minutes. Their words were all variations of the same truth. The most difficult assignment of their careers, every single week, for 11 years. That sentence, from the men whose job it was to stop him, is the only summary Aaron Donald ever needed. Before Donald, the NFL had one rule about pass rushers. Elite ones come from the edge. Interior linemen occupy space. They prevent, they don't create. Donald destroyed that assumption so completely that NFL franchises rebuilt their entire draft philosophies around finding the next him. There was no next him. Young defensive linemen today study his film the way quarterbacks study Tom Brady. Not for the moves alone, for the mentality, the obsessive preparation, the refusal to accept physical limitations as permanent. He was 285 pounds in a 310-pound world, and he was the best who ever played it. Not despite his size, because of everything his size made him become. 98 sacks, 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, 8 consecutive All-Pro selections, 1 Super Bowl ring. He never needed validation, never chased records, never demanded recognition. He simply showed up every season, every game, every single snap, and performed at a level the NFL had never seen. Some players change franchises, some players change games. Aaron Donald changed a position, a photo of his cleats, no caption, no announcement. That was enough. Leave one word below that describes what Aaron Donald was. Just one word. Subscribe for more NFL stories where greatness reveals itself in ways nobody expected. The next one is already waiting.